So there are definitely going to be some aspects of Starfield that are making me a little bit worried as to what we can kind of expect from the total experience. Because really what they've shown off so far, things look really good. The game graphics look amazing. The game play looks smooth. The game features look extensive. So it does seem like there's a lot to do, a lot to explore, and just a lot to have fun with. But there are some issues that we should be aware of. So let me kind of break down some of my biggest concerns about Starfield and potentially some things that I would like to have cleared up. The first one being buggy quests. Now, this is really kind of, I'm looking at Fallout 76 as I've been playing through quite a bit of that here recently. And, you know, for a game that's been out for roughly 4 years plus, for that game to still have buggy quests, I had a main and a side quest I couldn't progress for the longest time. So for the fact that that game being 4 years old and it still has those kinds of bugs in it to where you can't progress for whatever the reason, whether you have invisible NPCs, some door or artifact wouldn't activate correctly, whatever the reason, it is something that kind of leads me to have some concern about what we can expect from Starfield. If they can't take care of a game that's been out for 4 years and they can't kind of fine tune those aspects, why should we expect Starfield to have bug-free quests when it first comes out? So that'd be very interesting to see if they have a lot of those bug type quests, because a lot of us know that some of these quests, especially if they're main quests, they can really hamper and hold us back from completing the main part of the game and the main story. And they've already been out there selling the main story of the game. So this is something of a pretty major concern that I have. Now the second one is going to be a little bit more on smoothness and ease of travel. What I mean by smoothness is more of like interplanetary to space type transitions, because we have already been told we will not be flying from the atmosphere of a planet or moon into space, right? There will be a loading zone between that transition area. So this is something that I'm hoping that there is a smoother type loading screen that takes us from the atmosphere to the space and space down, through to the atmosphere, and traveling around isn't too complicated. In some of my previous videos, I've kind of mentioned that I hope there's not really a fast travel mechanic, or I don't think there will be a fast travel mechanic as it's been in legacy Bethesda games. I think the spaceship is going to be more of the fast traveling mechanic, the whole hyperdrive from one star system to another being the whole fast travel mechanic. And if there is a fast travel mechanic, I don't really see it going off planet. I think it would be more of fast travel back to your ship, that kind of a fast travel mechanic. So I don't really know if we'll see a fast travel mechanic. So I do hope that piloting your ship is a little bit more on the easier side than not, as this is probably the biggest feature that is coming in Starfield that they are having to develop, is really the flying and transitioning to space and then to other star systems and then back down to other planetary surfaces. So hopefully that ease of travel is a very smooth experience and enjoyable experience, honestly, because it seems like we will be doing that quite often, and hopefully we will be doing that quite often, to where we will be traveling to different aspects of the Starfield galaxy. Now the third and fourth cause for pause have more to do with the strategy of what they are trying to get out of Starfield. And the third one is going to be more around the DLCs and the cost of the game. And as we have already heard from Todd Howard, there will be DLC and after launch support for the game. I'd imagine a lot of that's going to be from modding tools, because they have already confirmed there will be modding tools. So that is going to be a big plus. Let's see what the modding community kind of comes up with. But the topics of DLC, this is where we have seen a lot of games try to really monetize the player base, and in certain aspects, monetization has been a little lackluster. You don't really feel you get your best bang for your buck. So I'm just kind of curious on the DLC side. They haven't really given any specifics there, and some of the rumors that we have heard about the developmental process of the game isn't that Starfield is lacking in features, but potentially that it has so many features. And I'm wondering if they're going to strip them out and potentially lock them behind DLC packages later on down the line. So this is something that I'm very interested to see, and hopefully they don't start stripping things out. But you know, if you enjoy the game, I have no problem spending money on DLC and microtransactions, expansions for a game that I enjoy. I just don't want it to be overboard and feel like I'm being taken advantage of, and that to be the thought process that they had going into the game. The last major concern I have for this game, number 4, the big one, is what Phil Spencer and Team Xbox have changed for the direction of Starfield. So this is a pretty major one, as we have already seen their impact on the game by removing PlayStation as a place you will be able to play the game at launch. Maybe it comes down the line. I wouldn't count on it. I would imagine if you're a PlayStation person, I think the cloud is probably going to be your cheapest way to get access to Starfield, or if you have a good PC rig, that's probably going to be your best bet. But as far as the other things that Team Xbox and Phil Spencer are potentially wanting to change, I made some previous videos about this, that they are probably going to push a little bit more towards the multiplayer experience, as that seems to be something that Phil Spencer has hinted at before in talking about what he would like to get out of Starfield. So it's going to be interesting to see what new direction has come out of the acquisition that Microsoft had from acquiring Bethesda from the direction they were already on. And we've already seen this with the previous Bethesda game, as there was a lot of reports that came out about Fallout 76 that Todd Howard actually wasn't around all that often, and really just kind of came in for certain production update meetings and had kind of said, hey, you know, you need to change this, or you need to not do that, and didn't really then provide further guidance for what he was looking for out of Fallout 76. And we all saw how bad Fallout 76 was at launch. The current state of Fallout 76 over 4 years after release is actually pretty good. There's a lot of content, and a lot of the reviews of Fallout 76 after release is why I actually didn't pick it up at release, and I've been playing through it recently since it's been on Xbox Game Pass. So this is something that I am very much interested in understanding, is how much, you know, Phil Spencer and Team Xbox have kind of come in and told Todd Howard and Team Bethesda kind of what they would also like to get out of the game. And I'm kind of curious if some of like what they were wanting to get out of Starfield, if that isn't why the game was delayed from November of 22 to the first half of 23. So those are my 4 major concerns about Starfield. So I'm gonna leave it there. It's pretty short this week. I'm doing a lot of road construction actually out in front of the house. So hopefully you didn't hear too much of that. And I'm looking forward to getting any new information about Starfield, but there hasn't been anything new, and we are not really expected to get anything anytime soon. Bethesda is gonna have their QuakeCon actually soon, so that could potentially be something there out of some interviews. They don't have anything official lined up. There will also be Gamescom coming up at the end of August 24th through the 28th. So that could also be a scenario where we see something out of Xbox. Xbox will be there. But as far as all the other demos and on-stage demonstrations, there will be nothing so far about Starfield, but that could always change as they are trying to fit it in and work out the timelines of their schedule. So we will just have to wait and see if we do get anything about Starfield. And there might be some pressers kind of come out of Gamescom. Gamescom is a pretty large convention, so we'll see if they do have some interviews lined up to talk more about Starfield stuff. Alrighty, take care everybody.